Hello, everyone. It's Jaden for Student Pages. Hope you're all doing well today. Today, we have another artist spotlight interview for you guys. We're here with Mo from Hard Life. How we doing?
How you doing, Jaden? Thanks for having me, man.
Hey, of course, my pleasure. So, just to get us started, then, if you could just give us a bit of background as to how you got into the music industry.
Yeah, I've been doing music now for a very long time, but as a kid, I'd always write songs and listen to music, and I suppose like I formed loads of different bands when I was like at school, and then I just never stopped, man. And I met the other guys in the band like in Leicester. They were all in other bands too, and then we kind of formed this Leicester super group. I can't believe I've called it that. It definitely wasn't that, but they were all in other bands, and then we like got together, and yeah, we've been doing it ever since, man. We've been very lucky. We had like some success early on, and I suppose that inspired us to keep going. And here we are, like 10 years later, man. It's just been a crazy ride.
Yeah, I'd already heard of you guys, obviously, and known some of your music.
I suppose like Onion was written at a time where I was fairly lost. I was really wanting to get some space and some perspective on everything that had happened in my career and in my life so far. I went out to Tokyo, and actually wrote it in my friend Yoshi in his studio, and his studio is called Onion, and I named the album after the studio in which I wrote it. But I suppose what sets it apart from the rest of my catalog is that I wrote Onion in a month. Wrote, and when I say I wrote it, I mean I wrote, recorded, produced it, mixed it, all of it with my friend Taka. We did the whole thing in the space of a month, and some of my other projects they took me longer than a year to make, and they were really like, I'm a perfectionist, but I'd really like made sure everything was perfect, all the recordings were perfect, all the lyrics were perfect. This one is a lot more raw. I actually think it's my best work, and I actually think the production is better than any of my other records, ironically. But there's something in just following in your instincts and just not letting yourself get in the way of the music. And yeah, I'm super proud of this record.
Ah, that's awesome. What a cool way to actually title it as well. I've never known an album being named after the place where it was made. That's really unique and cool, I think. So, for the band's music as a whole, then, what genre would you say it fits into, or do you think it does fit into a genre?
Oh man, that's something I've always struggled with. I think like as a creative, like I've always just kind of made whatever the fuck it is I want to make. And sometimes that's like pop music, sometimes that's more like hip hop leaning stuff, sometimes it's been more like indie, like variations of the band. It's like, I don't know, man. Genre, what's great about like I suppose my generation and certainly the generations younger than me, like maybe my generation was the first to do this, but we started to care less about genre. It was like with the
Mhm.
rise of Spotify and the accessibility of music, like all of a sudden everyone was digesting so much music, it didn't really matter what it sounded like. It just mattered that it like connected with you. And I think our project has been like fast moving and evolving. Like releases sound different from one to the next, and even on some albums I feel like from song to song like they're so different. I really don't know what genre it is, but when people ask me, I usually say pop music because that seems like the biggest overarching category that I could stick it in, but I don't really know, to be honest. God, man, I think everyone has people in their life that say they're not gonna amount to anything or never be able to achieve their goals. I think you just have to ignore those people and try use it as fuel to perhaps try prove them wrong. But I think you just need to live your life for yourself, man. Like it doesn't really matter what other people think. If you're like striving towards a place of kindness and compassion and happiness, then I think that's a good thing. And like it doesn't matter what it is you do for a living or how you get there. I suppose like with our career, like there's been so many bumps and along the way. I'm just like, I'm continuously amazed that I'm still doing this. There's been so many reasons not to, but we're here, and I'm just very grateful for every day that I get to do this for as a profession and as a job. It's an amazing way to spend my 20s. It's been brilliant. I think we all go through so much in life, no matter where you're from, any part of the world, what your background is, life just keeps happening. And I think it's relentless. It never stops. It just keeps coming at you all different ways. Yeah, I've been through so much in my personal life, so much in my career, most of which like I keep private because despite being very open and honest and raw in my lyrics, there's a lot of my life that remains just for me. But There's been so much,
Yeah.
man, and I think the only thing that I've learned along the way is that my attitude towards all of those difficult times changes constantly. And I think that's a really refreshing thing to remember. Like, you might feel really passionately about something today and it might really hurt, but in a week's time or a year's time or a decade's time, you're going to feel completely differently about that. Chances are you probably don't even really care about that thing anymore, you know? So I suppose like I only try worry about things I can influence because there's so much that is out of my control. And I think an acceptance of your lack of control is actually a really powerful and freeing thing. I used to try control everything, man. I had no control as a kid, so I was just like trying to control so much in my life. I think that's a mistake. I think you got to just let life happen and do your best to, yeah, grapple with those situations as they present themselves.
Yeah. No, powerful stuff. I mean, yeah, no, absolutely. I think the more that you try and control what's in your life, the more frustrated you'll get. And it ultimately leads to nowhere, doesn't it? It's like you're never going to be able to have that power. So what's the point in trying
Exactly.
to?
Exactly,
Yeah.
man. I think if you
Yeah,
accept
no.
kind of like a superpower, because everyone's trying to control every fucking aspect of the day, what they eat for fucking breakfast, blah, 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 blah. And like, really, we're just, specks flying around and I think that realization is like I said, it's freeing, man. I care a lot less about what people think now. Fucking hell. When I was younger, I really cared about so much. I really cared. I felt judged.
Yeah.
I wanted to impress people that I never met. I keep my personal life completely off social media. I didn't even have social media until about 2 years ago. I'd done my whole career without social media, actually just employing somebody to run our social media because I didn't want anything to do with it. But I suppose like when we started Hard Life, I wanted to establish a closer connection with the fans, and I felt like the only way to do that in the modern age is to be on social media and just be there and let people message you and respond. And I've really enjoyed it, and I think social media can be a real force for good and connection. And I don't want to just completely say that I hate it. That's too. It's a very nuanced thing and it can be used in a great way. And I think social media has been really important for us to be able to have like a really honest and open dialogue with our fans. I know so many of our fans like, yeah, I think it would be impossible without social media. But the thing is like I spend so much time on there and so much of what I have to do now is like social media. And I suppose that's why I feel a little bit disappointed with the fact that social media is such a pivotal part of being an artist. But I would always say, I would always caveat this by saying everyone has parts of their job they don't enjoy. Mine is social media. That's not too bad.
Yeah.
Like it's okay. I don't mind that. I'm very lucky to get to do what I do. So if I have to go on social media for an hour a day, that's fine. I'm not mad at that. I think this is good, actually. Yeah, this is good advice, maybe, who knows? But make whatever it is you want to make. If you believe in it, chances are someone else will too, because people aren't stupid. If you make something for someone else in the hope that they will like it, they ain't gonna like it. But if you make something that you really like, there's gonna be a whole load of people who are just like you that really like it. And like I've seen that. I've seen that in my work, in my art. Like whenever I've tried to make something, kind of sounds a bit shit, but whenever I've actually just locked in and made something that I wanted to make and I'm proud of it, people always connect with those songs the most. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think follow your instinct, follow your gut feeling, and make stuff you want to make and be brave and be vulnerable and yeah, I think if you're able to do that, then it will always break through. There's so much craziness that goes on behind the scenes. I mean, the obvious one would be like going through a lawsuit in public
Yeah.
against like a multinational corporation. That has been hard, but I think that's almost too obvious of an answer. There's so much politics behind the scenes with managers, labels, like tours, like mental health, so much stuff that goes on in music that never makes it to social media. I One day I intend to write it all down and tell people, but I don't know. I would say like certainly in most recent years, like getting sued was was incredibly difficult and something not only difficult, just something that I didn't expect. And it goes back to this idea of control. I didn't like the fact that it was very surprising and it kind of knocked me for six because I was like, what the fuck? Like I did not expect that to happen. And all of a sudden you're on the back foot from the get-go. Um, it was a lot, but again, I feel differently now. I've put one foot in front of the other. I'm here, like things change. And like humans are incredibly resilient, you know. Like bad shit happens to all of us all the time, but we can keep going and I think that's a good thing. We're going on tour at the end of the year. We haven't been on a headline tour for like 2 years, so we're so gassed. We're gonna like, yeah, I just can't wait, man. It's gonna be crazy.
You guys have got a legendary road ahead of you. I hope it all goes very, very well for you. Thank you ever so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.